The portals we all make. Prelude. Hello, thank you for joining me again. I'm Minerva Swaruu. I've been postponing this topic for many days, because I was seeing if I could make some graphics or some images to support the information. But I see that would take too much time, so I've decided to simply trust my descriptive skills. In a previous video I describe how drones are used, and that relates directly to how this information I'm going to talk about here was gathered, mostly for this subject's second part. This one is the prelude. I cannot put so much information into only one video because of the media's, and the video producing program's own limitations. I've also talked about the universe being made of consciousness and not matter. Being that matter and energy are just a concentrated intention manifestation of that said creator consciousness. I talked about how any place in space and time, everything, including all kinds of objects, are represented with a frequency numerical value, depending on the harmonics of a frequency each one is holding. In other words, each object holds a unique vibration that can be represented with a number. We can think of an area and all the objects in it as a map of numbers. This correlates directly with densities of existence, where the higher the numerical frequency value of a place or of a realm is, the higher the density it will pertain to. The higher a frequency is, the more information it can carry. And this in other words means that the more awareness a sentient being has, the higher a density it will belong to. Remarking that we do not live in a density, we are a density. And that higher frequency with a higher volume of information, in turn, will cause the sentient being experiencing all this, to be able to create a more complex realm world to live in, being that this apparent world, external to the sentient being, is only an illusion, and a direct reflection of the being itself. The world is because the sentient being is making it so, with its own interpretations, values and agreements. All matter, as such, is also an illusion, and it is formed with standing waves that are created and sustained by a specific harmonic of frequency, unique and specific to each particle of matter. This harmonic is what will give all the attributes and properties of each particle, and all the more complex objects it forms in conjunction with other particles. All this moves in a media that is pure consciousness, and can be seen and studied thinking of it as water and its flow dynamics, to the point that even most laws of hydrodynamics apply here, validly enough. This flow in the fluid of pure consciousness is gravity. Gravity is a flow and a direction of attention, as well as the volume or amount of that attention something is receiving, and whatever that something may be. The harmonics that create the above are frequency, or are made of a group of frequencies in perfect coordination. This is also the description of music. And yes, this means the entire universe is formed and held together with music, and by music. This is why everything that exists can be represented with a number that in turn describes the value of the frequency, and the value of the harmonics that are in play there, and that in turn are forming whatever exists. The frequency, and its harmonics are the object itself. The engine that moves, generates, and creates all this, is consciousness, and it applies its attention into any existential realm through all sentient beings. In other words, all sentient beings that hold consciousness, that have a connection to the greater source, who have a soul, are the creators of all the matter and all the energy that exists, simply by giving an interpretation, and a value, to what we call simple potential energy. In simpler terms, all beings with a soul create a frequency with its harmonics that in turn will create everything that ever existed, exists, and will ever exist, being that it is all one massive creation outside time and space. Time, space, distances, objects, matter, energy, they are all an idea held together by consciousness. They are all malleable because their values are not fixed, they are held by ideas and by imagination and not by fixed sterile laws. Whatever you think, is. The world you live in may seem fixed and with physical laws that apparently cannot be broken. And in your experience you cannot walk through walls, I know. However compelling and convincing all that may be, it is still only an agreement you are holding at many levels, mostly unconscious ones. But, you are creating your world. This is why you must watch what material you are consuming, what subjects you are studying and which people you are listening to. Because you are making, and deciding your own values, what is possible and what is not, you are creating your whole world based upon what ideas, and which people are influencing you. But it is still you who is making up your whole world, because, if you are listening to one or another author, or influencer, it is because you are matched to that other person's frequency, you are that other person or influencer, because you agree with what it is being said. You become more of the same. The principle of dominant frequency applies here perfectly. It states that the dominant one will be the strongest, and will make all other frequencies around it become more of itself. If there is a big strong frequency, all the lesser ones around its area of influence will soon vibrate exactly like it. So think on your own, and congruent with your own self-created values. All this above means that all sentient beings with a connection to the greater source generate gravity, therefore deform, modify, influence and create all the world, material or not, that surrounds the area of their awareness. And the less that soul lets external influences modify its own personal values, the more it holds itself congruent and true to itself, standing strong in adversity, the more gravity this soul is generating, therefore the more it is influencing its surroundings, and influencing other people, other souls in its area of traction. You can understand adversity as simply you being your own frequency, you wanting to conserve and defend your uniqueness, while other people frequencies surrounding you want to transform you into more of them, into more of their own. That is why if you think differently from the other people, they will attack and disqualify you, trying to force you into agreeing with them, therefore transforming you into more of them, losing your uniqueness in the process. So, stand strong you little star seeds out there. Looking at the world in terms of frequency numerical values, as an example, whenever a person walks past any place, the area will transform its own frequency values into new ones that will be more like the ones held by the person walking past. The stronger that person is, the more gravity it creates, and the more it transforms its surroundings. This means we all live in a soup of frequencies that are the result of all the creative intentions, or harmonics, of everyone sentient being sharing such a place with us. This is also why we tend to seek the company of like-minded people, because as a group holding at least very similar agreements, we will all be stronger because we all augment, nourish and feed our own, making them stronger. That's why we feel good being accepted, and being a part of a like-minded group, because we no longer have to hold our own frequency, as much, on our own. Although we always have to, because we all hold our individuality even inside such like-minded groups, as you can imagine. But it explains the old saying, birds of a flock will flock together. And what does all this mean? It means that you are a standing wave. All souls are standing waves, held together in their own uniqueness by their own ideas and their attachments to them. That is a soul. The almighty original source consciousness, the universe itself, in each little sentient creature there. A little unique wave in an ocean of pure consciousness. Be strong, my friends. Be unique. It is more than okay to be different. It means you are someone. It means you influence everything around you. It means you are building your own soul. It means you are awesome. With all my love. MariSwa.